Ticker News with Aaron Young. This is Ticker Today.
Hello, thanks so much for joining me. Tensions have escalated between India and Pakistan as India now launches an attack on 9 locations in Pakistan. The breaking news this hour as initial reports indicate that the strikes have resulted in at least 3 fatalities and 12 injuries in Pakistan. A bold exchange at the White House as Prime Minister Mark Carney tells President Trump in no uncertain terms that Canada will never become America's 51st state. We've got the audio for you. President Trump has declared an end to US airstrikes on Yemen's Houthi rebels following a peace deal brokered by Oman. Australia's movie sector has been thrown into disarray after Donald Trump revealed a 100% tariff on all foreign-produced films. And the market's gold hitting an historic peak as markets react to Mark Carney's firm rejection of Donald Trump's annexation pitch during their high-profile meeting in Washington. You are watching Ticker Today, the latest news and business moving our world. Let's get started. But first today, we begin with breaking news this hour as tensions escalate between India and Pakistan. India launching an attack on 9 locations in Pakistan, as well as Pakistani Kashmir, claiming these sites were planning attacks against Indian targets. Initial reports indicate the strikes have resulted in at least 3 fatalities. That number is rising, 12 injuries too in Pakistan. The Indian government has stated that the operation known as Operation Sindoor targeted terrorist infrastructure while asserting that it avoided Pakistani military facilities. In Mazar-e-Farabad, witnesses report widespread explosions and power outages followed by the strikes. Now, amid ongoing conflict, Pakistan's military has now confirmed a response is underway, intensifying the volatile situation in that region. Pakistan's military says it shot down 3 Indian Air Force aircraft after India said it struck sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The president speaking on the situation from the White House.
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. You know, they've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
Now, the latest is Pakistani forces have destroyed Indian brigade headquarters in retaliation. This according to security sources, and a number of airports have been closed to civilian air traffic. The UN chief now calling for restraint from India and Pakistan. We'll keep you up to date as the story continues to unfold. Now, in a remarkable meeting at the White House, Prime Minister Mark Carney firmly told President Trump Canada is not for sale, following Trump's suggestion to make it the 51st state of the United States. The meeting comes during a time of strained US-Canada relations. Despite calling Carney's recent electoral win a political comeback, Trump proposed that annexation could offer Canadian citizens significant tax cuts and military benefits. Have a look.
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes 2 to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person. But when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada.
Now, Carney quickly dismissed that idea, signalling that Canada's sovereignty is non-negotiable.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalize NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
Now, as you see, Mark Carney looked visibly uncomfortable during the meeting. Both leaders acknowledged the need to rethink trade agreements, with Carney advocating for necessary changes. And President Donald Trump announced the US will cease bombing Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis following a ceasefire agreement mediated by Oman. The deal comes amidst heightened tensions due to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, with the Houthis committing to halting disruptions to vital shipping lanes. Both parties have agreed not to target each other, including American vessels in the Red Sea.
We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings. And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore. And that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think that's very, very positive.
And Trump's announcement follows a series of intense US airstrikes aimed at the Houthis, which began on the 15th of March, resulting in considerable casualties among their ranks. Meanwhile, Yemen's international airport, have a look at these pictures, completely destroyed in Israeli airstrikes. That's according to airport officials. These are pictures from the scene showing multiple aircraft planes and terminals on fire. The Australian film industry is facing uncertainty following Donald Trump's announcement of a 100% tariff on films made overseas. Industry insiders expressing concerns that this could jeopardise jobs and investments vital to Australia's film sector. The Australian government now pledging to support its film industry, hinting at the importance of international collaboration. As filmmakers now await further details, local authorities worry this tariff could derail plans for significant production facilities being built on the Gold Coast. Experts warn this move could ultimately harm not just the Australian film market, but also escalate production costs right around the world. China is facing the threat of deeper deflation as it redirects exports intended for the US domestic market amid soaring tariffs. Local governments and top businesses are now rallying to help divert sales, with e-commerce giants like JD.com pledging significant funds to promote the goods domestically. However, the strategy has sparked a fierce price war among Chinese firms, jeopardizing profitability and potentially leading to many job losses. With the consumer price index slipping into negative territory, experts warning the effects on the ongoing trade conflict could cripple economic growth. Now the latest developments in the Erin Patterson mushroom murder trial in Victoria. Key witnesses have taken to centre stage. Ian Wilkinson, the sole survivor from the ill-fated lunch, recounted his experiences, revealing that he and his wife were eager to attend, hoping to bond with Erin. He noted Erin's hesitation to allow guests to check her pantry on the day, confirming she served the meal on a rusty-coloured plate for herself. The others had grey plates. Wilkinson also mentioned that Gail Patterson left some of her beef Wellington, which Don later finished. Medical experts provided critical insights indicating that Don had alarming test results upon arrival at the hospital, while Gail showed milder symptoms, complicating their treatment decisions. All 133 cardinals are expected to elect a new pope have now arrived in Rome ahead of the conclave set to begin. Pope Francis's passing last month, the race to find his successor now wide open, with debates on the Church's future dominating the discussions. Some cardinals advocating for Francis' progressive approach to continue, while others pushing for a return to traditional doctrine. The conclave will feature multiple votes, requiring a significant majority for a new pope now to be elected. Let's check the markets on this very busy day. Stock indexes falling on Tuesday, following the Dow and S&P 500 ending their 9-day winning streaks. Gold prices surged to a new all-time high. The market downturn came after the Canadian PM Mark Carney firmly stated Canada will not be up for sale during his meeting with President Trump. Investors are anxious about the impact of looming US tariffs, especially after companies like Ford and Mattel suspended their annual forecasts. Meanwhile, record trade deficit figures were reported, reaching $140 billion in March. That's surpassed economists' predictions.